Which celestial object looks most like a butt? The moon! Which musical instrument has the most animals? The kazoo! I broke into the zoo with a Sharpie, and I drew big X's on all of the big cats. I really crossed the line that day. Shout out to those people who don't know what the middle 3 letters of the word south are. This bloke yesterday stabbed me in the leg. He only stabbed me once, but I had 4 holes in my skin. He stabbed me with a fork 4 times. So I have this friend who drives large vehicles, large cargo vehicles on the highway. He's supposed to say quack, because, you know, he's one of those birds. But he never looks after his vehicle. It's always dirty. He also won the lottery. So he called me up. But he was so excited, he sounded like a chicken. He made a lucky mucky truck duck cluck. So in the apartment building that I live in is quite old. In the past, did you know that they used to train ducks? It's very cool. So they trained this duck, one in stand-up comedy, and also as an elevator attendant. Every time I try and use the elevator, he really quacks me up. What do you call a person who plays music whilst counting votes, but can also fix the wiring in your house? An electrician. What do you call an English knight who lives in a house entirely made out of hippopotamuses? So real estate. Where do you go if you want to drunkenly complain about everything? The winery. My friend Gary, he joined this competition where you go for as long as you can without drinking. There were only 4 people in this competition. He got number 1 place and number 3rd place. He came first. I'm not sure I'm allowed to say this one. I have a friend, and she has boobs, and they're just so loud. They're just so loud all the time. They're just so voluminous. You know those birds, the really creepy ones that eat dead things? They have this amazing hunting technique where they crouch down low to the ground, and they sort of stick out their necks at a nice little angle, and they wait for small furry animals to come and sit down. You know, vultures. Vultures? Vultures? Me and my mate Josh were trying to go to this specific jetty, and I thought he was suggesting we go vehicle shopping. But no, he was suggesting a mode of transport and pointing out a nearby cetacean. He said we could go by boat. Orca! That's so bad. So my friend Stacy lives near a highway, and the highway is really noisy. Keeps her up at night all the time. So the highway offered her to go and drive on the road. I could never tell if she took it up on its offer because she turned down that road. So I have this Spanish friend, and he doesn't have a job. And when I first met him, I knew that he didn't have a job, but he did have a pet goose. And one of the pet goose's feet was golden. And people just came to look at it. And he didn't have to do anything. And when I first met him, I said, "How do you make your money?" And he said, "Mucho gusto." Ah, that's good. So I went to the pet shop, and everything was really cheap. Especially the tiny little insects that you could just see right through. Apparently, clearance. Clear ants. Come on, it's funny. My Spanish friend's son, he's like 6 months old. The 6-month-old doesn't have a job. It just lies around drinking milk. Bebe leche. I don't think cross-lingual jokes they're so hard, and they're also very niche because you have to know both languages enough for it to make sense. And I'm pretty sure all of the people who speak Spanish and English, Espanol, including the dogs, Espanol, they probably are like, that joke doesn't work because you don't pronounce the bebe leche. But the baby leech is, you know, like a leech, like a leech just sucks everything dry. Look, jokes are always better when you have to describe and explain them. They have this amazing 3D printing technology where you can print baby sheep. But they do it on the road, like on the backs of trucks. It's crazy because a lot of the baby sheep, they can't walk. Their legs just don't work. Because every time they come to an intersection, they have to form one lane. My friend Gary, he owns a beer shop. So he's trying to sell beer, but only to men. Now, it didn't work out for him because what he did is he got a boat and he got one of those long pieces of fabric, the big triangular pieces of fabric that you put above a boat to make it move. And he wrote advertisements for the beer on that thing, but it was too white. You couldn't really see it. You couldn't read the words. It really was a male ale sail pale sail fail. Okay, stay with me on this one, it's easy. So I have this teacher friend named Bridget, and she held a session on teaching people about parodies of historical lawns. But she did it a little bit too quickly. It really was a fast past grass fast class. Oh no. So I have a friend who's an artist and he lives at the beach and he likes to draw little tiny fruits. But one day he just gets up and he yells at me while we're at the beach and he's illustrating a tiny small citrus fruit and he's like, "This is the last small green citrus fruit that I'm going to illustrate today." And I said, wow, he really drew a line in the sand. My friend Terence was helping me get dressed and choose what to wear, you know. But he said something to me and I was really confused. I didn't know if he was trying to suggest a shirt with fewer horizontal lines on it, or he was suggesting we attempt to wear a shirt that was urine stained. He said to me, "Let's try P-shirt. Do bees drive to work every day? No, they catch the buzz." So I have this friend, Diane. You know, we're good friends, so I call her Di. And she unfortunately missed out on going to that place where they have that exhibits with all of those really big, you know, the big lizards that died out 65 million years ago. Dinosaur Museum. So I went to the restaurant with my wife. My wife was looking very greedily at my food that was left on my plate. And the waiter came over. He had the hide to say, "Do you want a container?" And I said, "Look, my wife may not look like it, but she definitely has self-control. We don't need to lock her up." So there are these big cow-like creatures. Start with B. What are they called? Not bison, the other one. And they're from that small town that have the same name in America. And they like to browbeat their cousins from the same place. Buffalo, 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 buffalo. Buffalo. What's the opposite of buffalo? Skinny or high? There was this bear sleeping at an after-funeral party. None of the people at the event could tell if the bear was asleep or not. Turns out it was awake. This one has a little tiny bit of a swear, but it's not really a swear, still family friendly, it's fine. You know how some people have restless leg syndrome? I've got restless butt syndrome. Through the night, I'm just twerking. My butt's jumping up and down, sleeping. My friend Gary, he's just taken up a new hobby, and he bought himself a steed. And instead of buying a saddle, he just put fish eggs all over the top of his steed. He really rode that horse. My other friend Trevor, he likes to manufacture tomato ketchup. The only way to produce this ketchup is to make equine animals who have sore throats, who also don't have much money, go in a rowing competition. I said to him, "Are you trying to enforce poor horse? Shout out to those people who don't know what the opposite of in is. Shout out to those people who don't know the acronym for the Organization of Universal Tubs." My friend owns a farm and he's got all of these cows. Most of them were just pretending to be male cows. Real shambles. When I was growing up, I couldn't decide whether to become a poet or break the law and get arrested. So I made a pros and cons list. Thank you so much for breathing. Remember, be kind, be curious, and stay awesome.